Hello, welcome to another edition or another episode, or however you want to refer to it as, of The Independent Creator. Now, tonight we're actually going to take a little bit of a break, not looking at different projects or software or platforms or anything like that, but we're actually going to take a look at the hard lessons learned for trying to make a community around whatever project or anything that you're trying to do, and also kind of like a self-reflection as well for myself, and just try to get out there. It's just because I know many people out there are probably dealing with the same issues, are trying to figure out what to do, how to get past these roadblocks and stuff like that. So that's pretty much what we're going to be talking about tonight in this episode. Making sure I got the right scene going. Here we go. Now, one of the things that many creators, community managers, creators of all sizes and shapes and colors and whatever else, is trying to get a community to grow around your project, whatever that you are trying to do. I know for myself, trying to get a community growing around the independent creator space that are the people who are actually interested in like alternative platforms like Livespace, Owncast, SharePlay, places that are not Discord or Guilded, or it's just trying to build out a website that you want to work on in kind of forums or community software, and trying to get a community to grow on any of these particular avenues is probably one of the hardest things that anybody can do, really, because you have to believe what you're trying to build yourself, and you trying to partake it to other people to see what you are wanting to build and try to get them into your, not really want to say into your fold, but into your community, and try to, have some kind of faith and say, oh yeah, I can see this working out. One of the hard lessons is that I've learned so far is that no matter how much you think you're doing, it's not enough, really. I can say that I am like really, really poor at doing any kind of self promotion or anything like that. It's just I don't really have that in my own uh, personality. I'm really not the type to go out there and say, hey, you got to come to this place if you want to do this. You really need to do this. You need to come here and do this. It's like one of those things where I know for myself that that's one of the things I fail at, and I've been trying to get along and trying to work on that as much as possible. But the problem is, as I know with a lot of you out there as well, is that you find yourself spread very thin and trying to do all of the things. You're trying to be a jack of all trades, but master of none, really. And that is, some of the guiding factors of why I wanted to do this episode is to, bring to light that, yeah, I know I suck at a lot of things, and I know you are probably thinking the same way, and you're not alone. There's many of us that are just, going flying by the seat of our pants and trying to figure out what the hell to do. And really, there isn't any kind of a playbook that one can go to a store and pick up, go to Barnes and Noble and pick up a book and say, if you follow steps 1, 2, 3, you'll receive success within a month. There's no way that anything like that is going to happen at all. I know a lot of people on YouTube constantly harp onto the fact that if you just post out on TikTok, or if you do this on Twitter, and you'll see success in no time. The problem is that yes, a majority, or I should say a large number of people do that and have received some success, but not everyone will be, by following those procedures, will see the same success. And I think it's kind of disingenuous for people that are on YouTube, or the stream coaches and content creator coaches and stuff like that are harping out this information that is, it's, I don't want to say anything negatory to them, but I believe that their heart is in the right place, but their actions are not in the correct place for a majority of people. And I think one of those things is that I've tried TikTok many a times. I tried different ways of going about it. Tried, posting out videos every other day that were basically small clips of previous episodes or shows or anything that streams that I've done, and I got some movement on that. But the thing is, especially with TikTok is kind of like a hellscape. It is. I replied to Tree's post over on Blue Sky earlier today that she had posted a TikTok and only got like 6 views. And I looked on her screenshot and others were getting like a couple hundred or like 1,000. And I was like, well, it's kind of like a Mary Poppins bag. It's no matter how much great content that you put into it, you're going to get more than likely not as much viewership, while other people are putting or doing copies upon copies of other people's content and are getting like millions of views, where it's essentially the same thing. They're just doing their own version of it. It's kind of like, well, it's not really original content. You're just taking an apple pie and saying, "Oh, I made this apple pie," but you're just, I know my analogy is just failing there, but it's the same thing where it's kind of like, no matter, you have to put in your mindset is no matter how much hard work and dedication you put into a piece of content, that you kind of have to expect that it is going to fall flat. Every single thing that you're going to do as out there is going to fall flat. I mean, it's kind of set that bar pretty low, and if it goes up above it, hey, that's great. But set your expectations low, so you don't have that feeling of failure. And I know a lot of people say don't look at the numbers, but I want to say that in of itself is probably not the best advice, because you want to understand what the numbers are, right? If you're putting content out there and it's getting like millions of views, and you're lucky to get millions of views, and you're like, okay, why is this working? Let's just capitalize on it. Try to make some small changes or keep working on creating the secret sauce or whatever you did to capture that lightning in a bottle. And eventually what's going to happen is going to, numbers start falling. And then I believe in many cases that some people are going to go into the freak out mode when all of a sudden they start seeing 1, 2, 3 videos or streams or whatever pieces of content. So the numbers start not getting as high as it was the previous one. And I think a lot of people see that. And that's why I think they say, don't look at the numbers. In that aspect, yes, I want to say don't look at the numbers, but try to understand why what you're putting out is not working. So I know that's probably advice that I know it is advice that has been spouted since, the dawn of time has been YouTube. And it does hold some weight. No matter who says it or how they say it, it does hold weight, that you have to think that the content that you're putting out there, if it does get success and you keep putting out content and it's still getting the successful numbers, you have to have the understanding that your numbers will start to fall at the tail end of whatever you're putting out there. Don't expect to have constantly numbers beating previous numbers and then those numbers beating previous numbers. It's not going to happen for forever. You will have dips and valleys, and you just have to learn to not see that yourself as a failure if you start seeing dips. It's just, it's just the nature of the beast, and with content creation and stuff like that, it's just something that you're not going to have a constant rocket to the moon type of thing for the rest of your life. It's not going to happen. So I think the hard lessons that all of us really have to take into ourselves is that put out the best content that you really can and work on trying different things here and there, especially as a new creator, because that is the best part of being a new creator is experimenting, trying things that you might enjoy doing or editing styles that you might enjoy playing around with. Play around with different software. If you started playing around with like DaVinci Resolve, that's great. Try Premiere Pro for a week or whatever the trial is. See if you like that better. Because, you know, not everyone is going to have the same flavors and tastes that you have. You might be a wizard at DaVinci Resolve and just like, oh, node editing this is the best thing ever. While somebody else, your friend or brother, sister, whoever, is going to see that and like, what the hell are you doing? This is not how you edit video. No, what you do is you go into Adobe Premiere or you go Figma or many multitudes of different editing softwares, and you just gotta have that mentality that okay, this is what's working for me. It's not going to work for you. It's not going to work for everybody else, and that's a great thing to have because as content creators, we have to juggle so many different things that it's kind of ridiculous, really. And there is so much out there that, different flavors of content creation as well. There's, your gaming creators, which it's a great thing to see so many people who love playing games and that are just, enjoying doing that because, that's what they love. Then you have another person that says, well, streaming games is boring. I'd rather just, play the game. Why stream it? Well, that's their prerogative. And then they want to do that. That's fine. And there's, of course, people like me. I like to do a little bit of both. I like playing games, streaming them, but I also do a lot more of this, the podcasting, talking about alternative platforms or looking at teaching different things and how to get a chat overlay on your stream. And something like that is just, to me, is something I like to do. But a hard truth is figure out what you want to do. I mean, if you like to do, let's say, take for example, somebody who likes playing Baldur's Gate 3, they're good at it. And they like to, help teach or show people different builds or different ways to go about it. Try that for a couple months because a lot of people try new things, but what I see is that they only give themselves a week, maybe two at the most. And for that, you can't really base what's going to work or what's not going to work off of 2 weeks of experience, especially if you're doing maybe 3 days a week. So out of 6 live streams or 6 experiences is not really going to decide your fate for the next 6 months. And it's unfortunate a lot of people have that mentality. I know some people back in last year, they tried out streaming on YouTube. Now, don't get me wrong, streaming on YouTube is a completely different animal to those streaming on, say, Twitch or Livespace or SharePlay. But they gave themselves 2 to 3 experiences to stream on YouTube. And then they say, oh, it's not for me. It's like, well, yeah, because you never really gave it a chance. You didn't experience everything that you go through and say, oh, no, I know what I'm doing. I'm a streaming expert. I know what I'm talking about. No, yeah, you might be an expert or you might know enough that to, talk about how streaming is over on Twitch. But again, YouTube is a completely different animal, and there's ways of how going about it and different things that you have to do, thumbnails and titles, and it's a different world, really. And they just, nope, it's not for me. I'm going back to Twitch. It's like, okay. But now since Twitch has decided to, allow multi-streaming for everybody, which is, you know, finally, it's been years in the making, and they're the last ones to catch up to that. And to see that, oh, this I'm gonna stream on Twitch and YouTube. Oh, look at me, I'm a go-getter. Like, yeah, you could have done that before, but you decided to, oh, I only played the game 3 times, and it's not for me. It's like, okay, it's you do you. It's your prerogative, and come back whenever you want. That's the thing, is that we have to kind of not coddle the content creators and stuff like that, but just let them figure out this stuff on their own. And I know for myself, I pull back when saying that, oh, you should stream on Livespace because that's the best place to be. It's like, well, no, and for your use case scenario, it might not be the best place. You might find you have better success on Twitch, or you might be better off, doing self-hosting on with Owncast or YouTube or wherever else. And that's just something that, as fellow creators, we have to get that mentality that we know what is good for you. Just because for a lot of us have been streaming for many years on different platforms. And the thing is that, yeah, we might have that experience and platform hopping and trying different things out, experimenting here and there. What is good for the person that you're talking to or is asking for advice may not be the best thing to say, hey, try X, because, or not X, the platform, but try hypothetical X is be good for you. Say, okay, try it out. Give it a month, give it 6 months. Just give it multiple times that you're, let's say for live streaming, for an example, give it at least 1, 3, maybe 6 months at the most to see how it fits your play style, your creation style, and how you can go about, trying to get a community growing around what you do on that particular platform. And at the end of 6 months, and if something where you feel like that you're not really growing or you're experiencing that there is no growth whatsoever, it's okay. You don't have to keep grinding it out. That's why I kind of don't like the term grinding, with that you're at the millstone and you're grinding, or let's just say for like a Conan type of reference, you're on the wheel of pain going around for months or years until they break you. That is how I envision when people say, oh, I'm grinding on Twitch or I'm grinding on such and such platform. It's like you're stuck on a wheel of pain, and until you can figure out to get off of that wheel of pain or better yourself and become stronger, it's just like, well, you're not really learning anything. All you're learning is to go around in circles painfully, and you're not trying different things. And to me, that is heartbreaking that people have that mentality. Is like, it was just recently there was someone that was touted that, oh, for years or a year or two, they were streaming to 0 people, and all of a sudden they found success. It's like, well, on Twitch, it's, if you're streaming to 0 people, you're not doing something right, because all you gotta do is you have your Twitch streamer dashboard open, and automatically you're at 1 streamer. Okay, so you're already above the 0 viewer streamers. So you're out to 1 viewer streamers, which, yes, it's you. It still counts on, the listing. But the thing is that they touted as a great thing. It's like, yes, he persisted on that wheel of pain for so long that all of a sudden he found success. Okay, what did they learn? Just to keep going for whatever time. And to me, that I know what I'm saying is probably not going to resonate for a lot of people, or a lot of people are going to say, no, you're absolutely wrong and you should feel bad for saying this. But if you're going that hard for 0 viewers for so long, you have to change something. Something is not working. After 6 months, like I said, at the latest 6 months, and that is nothing's changed. Change, because you're not learning anything new or profound about you or your streaming career. You're just on that wheel of pain going around in circles for a year or two, bleeding. Yeah, you're getting calluses on your feet and your hands, but congratulations, yay. You didn't learn anything really. And thing is, with content creation, you have to constantly be doing stuff, trying new things and learning. Just not doing the same thing over and over again, because that's the definition of insanity, is to keep doing the same thing over and over but expect different results, which is not going to happen. And that's the thing that I'm learning as well as I go through this, is that I'm trying different things. Yes, some things are not working out. Some things are. For a long time doing this, I was thinking to myself, okay, doing this alternative platform, I'm not helping anybody really, but there have been these little nuggets here and there that people leave a comment on a YouTube video, or talking to people that are outside the sphere of what I do, and even on the live space, I was it's just something that is like very profound to me. It's like, even if I can reach one person, I'm doing something that's, I know that I enjoy doing and is actually helping other people. For example, there is Corey. If you don't know him, he's on Livespace, and he also does a lot of videos. He does a lot of painting, artwork, and stuff like that. That he was being not enjoying their streaming position, their streaming experience with Twitch, and they're trying to find different things. They didn't want to go to Kick because we all know what's going on with Kick and that reputation that Kick has. So I forget exactly how it came about, but I saw on posted on Mastodon about looking for alternatives. So I was like, okay, let me just post out here. Have you tried looking at Owncast? This is something that you can quickly spin up. It's self-hosted. You can control from the very beginning to wherever you want to do with it. And the thing is, it's going back to it. It's like, okay. And he says it himself that he's not very technically inclined, which, a lot of people are not. There's a lot of things I'm not technically inclined in. And I can vouch for, yeah, I completely understand. And that there's some things that, don't click with certain people when it does with others. And that's the thing, is like, okay, I try to explain to him, okay, what you can do is go into Hetzner and do a one-click install, go to your URL that you set up, and try my best. Unfortunately, my best wasn't best for this particular use case scenario. It's no fault of mine. It's no fault of Corey's. It's no fault of anybody. It's just that the information, how I tried to get it out, didn't click in a way that made sense for him. But what it did make sense is, after going through a couple things, that I had just got into the Livespace beta program that it was like a closed beta. So I was talking about that in a couple of different episodes and different videos I had made. And one thing led to another, is that he found his new home, really, that I believe that he enjoys the live streaming experience on Livespace, because he also reached out and also got onto a PeerTube instance that does allow or offer live streaming space. It's called Makerspace. It's a PeerTube instance. And yeah, there's some things there that works. But I think what is found out is that, this is just from my observation from his streams, is that he has a more enjoyable experience using Livespace. than he did elsewhere. Yeah, it sucks that the Oncast thing didn't work out, but you know what? It's not going to work out for everybody, and that's what I try to harp on a lot. Is that it's this thing is out there, but it may not be for everybody, and it's for, let's say it's for 50% of the people. Okay, 50% of the people will get it, work with it, and have great success. The other 50% would struggle, not have a good time, would hate it, and then would move on to someplace else. And that's, that's nature. That's just, the human experience. And there's no way I cannot force someone else. It's like, you will love Oncast. And if you don't, you're wrong. You're stupid. And stop being a content creator. That is complete nonsense and utter garbage. And I would hate to see anyone or hear anyone use something along those lines to somebody else, another creator, because that is just disgusting, really. And I would really lambast them. Says, yeah, you're putting giving content creation independent creators a black eye with those remarks. Please rethink your values. If not, just remove yourself from the situation. Please. Thank you. Goodbye. Block. But that's just the things that I have to learn. Is like, oh, for me, it works great. I was able, get instances up and running. Yeah, I had some troubles here and there, but I was able to get through it. But again, not many people would have the same experience, and that's perfectly fine. And now the same thing is also with, like I said at the beginning, with kind of like building a community. I look at all these other places, and that's something that I have to get out of my own mind and my own way of thinking, is stop comparing yourself to somebody else or another. Stop comparing what community you're trying to build to another community, and that is more successful than yours. And it's just kind of like back and forth. It's like, you got to stop that, because you're not only just self-defeating yourself, you're giving yourself anxiety, you're giving yourself self-doubt and frustration. Is like, why is this not working? And I'm going through that process currently right now. I've started up, as you might know if you've been watching and listening for the past almost a year or so. I started up Indie Creator Hub as a place for alternative platform exploration. And I'm thinking, it's like, yeah, this is great. And actually, just before I started the show tonight, I just answered two new comments on my latest, or not latest, but older YouTube videos, which is a great thing to me to see. Is that awesome that people are still finding these videos, and they're having some issues. I'm trying to, help them as best as I can, but YouTube comments are not a great place to do any kind of tech support, really. And I'm trying to find a way to convey that don't leave comments. And if you do, it's great. But if you want to find a place that you want to find more information, go to thisindiecreator.com. That's one of the sites I started up. Reason why it's This Indie Creator is because I was, for some reason in my mind, late last year, or actually middle of last year, it's like, not many people are coming to my sites, or no one's come to my sites. Like, what's wrong? Is it the name? Is it the platform I'm using? Is it this? Is it that? I don't know. Hey, Fox, finally made it. But that was one of the things. It's like, I was self-doubting how I was going about ways of trying to get my the website, the place to say, hey, if you want to, instead of leaving a YouTube comment, go here instead. And there wasn't really any traction, because what's happening is that people are used to social networks that they use, like YouTube or X Twitter or Facebook and stuff like that. And it's really hard, or even TikTok. It's really hard to get people to, let alone view your content, but also to uh, comment or interact with it, or even like a diamond in a rough to even use your content and go to your website, and even harder to, after if they made it to your website, to have an account or make an account on that website to start interacting as a community member. It's just, something difficult that these people are so like ingrained into the culture of that social network. You loaded a bunch of band lists into your firewall. Nice. Okay. Yeah, I know there's some people that sell band lists or stuff like that, which to me is like, why are you selling that? That should be freely given. But yeah, it's just something that I constantly struggle, is even to this day, um, to figure out what the best way to go about and trying to get people to come to your sites, or to at least comment on your videos or your postings or whatever. Bye bye China. But it's kind of like, that's the struggle that, if not all of us, constantly go through, either from the very beginner that is just starting out to the seasoned expert. That once you get people in, it's a great feeling to see that, hey, the work that you do actually has helped other people, or has helped people look for these alternative platforms, or other places that, if they were just left on their own, they would have just been staying on Twitch, or just stop streaming or creating content altogether. But to see that people are finding these alternative platforms is actually a really great thing, and it's something that I am extremely proud of. That, to know that just a little bit of work that I do to try to get this stuff out there has just a little bit of influence. And I'm not going to say or call myself or reference myself as an influencer, because that's a disgusting word. No, I'm just bringing to light what a lot of people actively ignore, don't know about, or have no knowledge of it ever existing. And that's a great feeling to have, really. And when I'm working on my sites, especially kind of like going through the motions of, you constantly having these thoughts and talking to yourself in your own head. Is what I'm doing good enough? Is this working? What if I changed the name, or, like I said, went to a different platform on the sites and stuff like that? It was like, well, you never really gave it a long enough time frame for it to integrate into what you're doing, and you kind of self-sabotage it a little bit. Because I know in the past, my constantly trying out different streaming platforms. I started with Twitch. I went to Mixer, or when it first started, or when it first not I didn't start on Beam. I went to Mixer when it became Mixer. I tried out Facebook gaming. Tried on Trovo, the Glimish, Brime, YouNow, YouTube. I pretty much tried almost all of the streaming platforms that are out there currently right now. And I think what might have hurt my potential growth was the constant moving of different platforms. And I know that now, but at the time I was thinking, oh, well, let's try this new thing, because, I've heard from so-and-so on YouTube, if you go are a fresh starter, or, the, first mover advantage on a new platform, you have a better chance of gaining an audience, or getting viewers and stuff like that, especially if you're working on a niche or game that no one really plays. Like, okay, let me try that. I fell into that rabbit hole big time. And it's something that I kind of think to myself, well, I could have been at a better position, but I'm also thinking to myself, no, if I did not go through that struggle, I would not be where I'm at right now. I would have been still on Twitch, doing the same thing over and over again. But the issue is that I would not have made different changes. I would have been continuing to do the same thing over and over. I would have been on that wheel of pain for years for no real improvement. So in the end, I think doing the struggling of kind of self-sabotaging kind of helped a little bit. I might be deluding myself a little bit, but that's okay. It is what it is. And I would never have, given Trovos a shot or Mixer or SharePlay or LiveSpace. Yeah, I'm on here. Definitely improved infinitely. Why you give me these hard words, Fox? Infinitely. That's not even a word. Correct usage. I know. I'm putting a law book right here now. So yeah, or even Oncast. I would never have said or did a look for alternatives for live streaming. I would never have found Oncast and started my journey on doing alternative platforms. So it's kind of it's I know it's kind of cliched as like, it's your destiny to go down this hard path. Yeah, I'm not even going to try pronouncing that. No, thank you. Peculiarities? Yeah. And that's what I'm sticking to. And if you don't like it, too bad. But yeah, it's kind of like if I did not go through the struggle bus at the beginning, I probably would not be here. And to think of it that way is kind of like a blessing in disguise, really. Fox, I did post the issue with the social stream into their Discord server. Had not heard back yet. Keeping an eye on it. Hopefully, I'll get some feedback on what's going on. But the thing is like I know what I'm doing is helping at least one person. I know with Corey, helping him find live space and him actually, in my personal opinion, I believe, like I said before, he's having a better live streaming experience on live space. And that's a great thing. That's a great feeling to have, is that they're so thankful to say, hey, thank you for giving me or letting me know about what this is. And it's kind of like, yeah, if I'm helping just one person, that's great. Yeah, I can't even pronounce. I don't even know what that says, Fox. And it's kind of like, yes, I like having that feeling, because if you help just one person, then that kind of snowballs into, it helps two people, and two people is four, then go eight, and then so on and so forth. And eventually, after years of doing this, gaining more knowledge of alternative platforms, gaining more knowledge of Oncast, LiveSpace, SharePlay, PeerTube, Castopod, and failing at trying to get those items and stuff working and figuring out what's going on and what's new and the new updates. Over the course of learning of it, you can actually I can try explaining it a little bit better, and to other people that, oh, this person, yes, they completely sucked at it for 2 hours trying to get a PeerTube instance up and running months ago, but had found a way to get it to work or find a different way to have it installed easier. And it's kind of like, okay, maybe it's not as scary as it at first it appears. So it kind of helps somebody else to, take that first leap into exploring PeerTube or Oncast or whatever. And they can get that experience like, oh, okay, ooh, maybe I bit off a little bit more than I can chew. What's going on here? Let me try taking a look. It's just that first step to get somebody into the door is the most important thing. And that's that's the hardest thing to do, because there's so many people that are, oh, I don't want to do it. I got to work with a command line or command code. I'm not a hacker. I'm not hacker man. I can't do this. It's too scary. And sometimes when I look at things like this, I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Like, why is this not working? I know it's supposed to be working. I put the stuff in that calls for it. Like, I had an issue with the PeerTube instance not working directly with my S3 object storage bucket. It's like, why is it not going through? What's wrong? It's throwing errors. I'm like copying the error and trying to do a Google search and nothing's coming up. I'm like, no one has come across this before. This is inconceivable. And I eventually found the reasoning and why it wasn't working and was able to get to work. And there's some other things that are kind of being a pain in the butt, especially with Castopod. But I think it's just because of how Castopod works with the newest version, I should say, with an Backblaze or any kind of object storage bucket. So it's kind of like I'm stuck until finding out a way to get past that. So, and that's just the thing that I spent I think it was last weekend or the weekend prior, especially I think it was the weekend prior, working with the PeerTube stuff. I spent 2 days building up an instance, getting to a certain point, saying, okay, why is this not working? Oh, okay, because I messed up here. All right, nuke it, redo it again. And then it's just rinse and repeat. And it's kind of like the same thing with you trying to build up a community, is that you have to fail in order to succeed. And that's something I'm learning. I'm still learning in how to fail gracefully, I should say. There's some things where it's like frustrating. It's like I've been working on it for 2 hours. Like, oh, I'm gonna walk away. I gotta get some lunch or something. It's 2:00. I'm hungry. And that's probably the reason why it's not working, because I'm not working with a clear head. And with that is, I think what I'm doing with the community aspect is I have set up the discourse forum, but I'm going through like second guessing myself a lot of the time. It's like, well, instead of splitting a community, go back to a singular website, really, with the forum, the blog posts and stuff like that. I did it because I wanted to play around with discourse and to learn a little bit more with that. But I'm thinking, it's like, well, again, like I'm saying, I'm second guessing myself, is why did I do this in the first place? When I want to incorporate not really like a one-stop shop kind of place for any kind of independent creators. I don't want to just pigeonhole myself into just talking to content creators that are like live streamers or video creators and stuff like that. Eventually, I want to get to people who do art, comic books, animation, book writing, authors, and stuff like that, where it's kind of like without thinking of a better term, a catch-all for all independent creators. And that's why I'm second guessing myself lately, is to split out the indie gaming aspect of the actual community that I'm trying to start. And it's also thinking to myself, why you want to do 2 projects when the one project is just getting started? And it's kind of like, what now? You have 2 projects that you're going to be spreading yourself even more thinner. You wish comics weren't just a pricey media. Exactly. I haven't bought a comic, like an actual physical comic book, in years, but on my understanding, it's like $3 to $5 an issue. And it's something where I know there is a lot of artists, a lot of animation, especially like I can see 2024, I believe, is going to be a tipping point for independent animation. Like cartoons, if you want to put it in that term. We've seen the success of Has Been Hotel on with the first season. They have had great success. I enjoyed the series. I loved it. Actually, the music, songs, perfect, great. It's funny as hell. Issues are ridiculous. They're so small, and 15% of the pages, are ads. So a trade paperback at least make a lot more sense. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like with animation, let me continue with that. Is that there is a wellspring of people who are making like these shorts, these short films, but they're animation, and they're what I've seen so far of a few of them are like, this is amazing. And it's a shame that these people. I had previously looked at like years ago. I was trying to get like a sci-fi community up and running that failed, and that wasn't a failure. It was just trying to figure out and finding out what didn't work. But there was a lot of short films that I watched, and it's kind of like there's more rich storytelling in these 15 minutes with no dialogue. It's all just the expressions of the characters and the storytelling through animation. Is like these 10 to 15 minutes are much better than what 2-3 hour movies are. And it's like, why is this not being focused or being seen by a wider majority? And it's kind of like, that's what I want to get to, is eventually is start incorporating. I know some my stuff that I do as independent creators, because I'm going with the stuff that I know, like live streaming, content creation, stuff like that. I have no idea about animation. I do know with like the writing. I've done some short stories and stuff like that. Manga are printed for cheap, probably because they're not color linked. I'm looking for a complete set so far. Price of shipping plus more reading means more literacy, whatever. Reinforcement. Never buy English manga. Also, FYE has new movies on Blu-ray for $40. Who buys this crap? Yeah, it's like I said. It's like these independent artists are trying to get their stuff out there, and I just want to try to get more people's eyes on it, or people who are interested in wanting to create or start drawing animation. It's like, how do I do this? And get like a repository of stuff going that, that's the big reason why I wanted to do this indie creator. Or, another thing I've been thinking about is rebranded under everything under the indie basement umbrella, because it's as indie, and it's something that I'm going to be thinking out for the next couple months and stuff like that. Yeah, your wife and I want to find live music events by cover bands, local group, and so on. Yeah, and that's again music artists. There are so many resources out there that unless you are in that particular field or expertise, that even if you are, you really don't find them all that often, because like there are these hidden gems. So that's down to the brass tacks of it. Is that's the reason why I wanted to do start this initiative and just be like, this is the indie basement. It's go from indie creator hub to this indie creator to eventually into the wider universe of indie basement. We're providing information or gathering information that can help so much more people, that I'm not going to call it my life calling. No, that's kind of cheesy when I say it out loud, but essentially, yeah, it's what I like to do is, to get the information out to these people that are, love what they're doing, but they don't have the expertise of doing business, but they are mavericks in like whatever field or whatever they like to do. But get them in touch with, someone who does the business side of things that has expertise in comic books or inking of comic books or animation or music or anything like that. Just, like, hey, I know a guy or I know this person or I know this lady that does this. And it's like, that's what I'm wanting to eventually get everything move into, and this wider umbrella that it's to help you, to help yourselves to find your passion, that you can continue to help someone else find their passion. And all it boils down to is helping people, really. And that's the reason why I know Fox, you like you just said with the live music and stuff like that, is that there are a lot of people that don't know about this. And that's why I'm trying to reach out, and that's why I do all this podcast, and hopefully I help one more person. That's what I really want, is to help that one person, and it's just kind of a snowball effect, that person, with their gathered knowledge, it helps another person, and so on and so forth. So my plan, start wrapping up this episode, is I'm going to take the next couple months, and nothing's changing. Oops, sorry if I hit the microphone. Nothing's changing yet. The podcast and everything is still going on, but what I want to do is start branching out into small little branches here and there. And I'm still, focusing on independent creators, the content creation and the live streaming space, but wanting to find other people that are passionate about other avenues of independent creators and artists and all sorts of stuff like that. And next couple months is I want to start moving things into a singular umbrella, where it's the indie basement. I'm thinking of having everything underneath the indie basement line, naming, because it's just going to make things a lot easier for myself if I'm focusing on that one thing instead of like 3 or 4 different domains and brand names and stuff like that. I'm going to be working on, reintegrating or bringing back the gaming aspect into the community again. Instead of the 2 different forums, I'll have just a one forum. And I want to start doing some other projects that are not really going to take away my time, but are going to help me learn about different things in different aspects. So I know one of those is a podcast idea I had for a long time now is, looking at old TV shows, not really old TV shows, but TV shows I enjoy, but focusing mostly on like the canceled or ones that were canceled before their time. And that aspect really, really intrigues me, because I want to, go back and rewatch some of these old shows and, talk about them, like talk about the plot lines, the character growth, and all sorts of stuff like that. So that's one project I'm thinking about starting up relatively soon. And best way to do that, to learn more, is to actually join the community. Join up at thisindiecreator.com, where you can, if you're an independent creator, artist, or a person that's passionate about, this creator space of everything, you can join up. It's completely free. You don't have to start paying monthly. There's no subscription models or anything like that. There's no pay to win. There's no battle passes to sign up for. So definitely join up thisindiecreator.com, and hope to see you there. Now, this is going to be the end of the episode. Thank you for joining me. So if you learned anything, please let me know. Or if you have any ideas of what to talk about, what we just talked about today, definitely let me know in the comments on YouTube or on the podcast player of your choice, or within the community itself. Do let me know. I know, Fox, I do these, it's about an hour. You came in, you were late. You came in that door, you went to your desk, and I saw you. Don't think I didn't see you. But the episode will be up and running tomorrow. I'll have it's the video portion on the PeerTube. No, I was early. No, I was not, Mister. Listen here, Buster. But yeah, you can find this episode. The audio version will be up on a podcast player of your choice tomorrow morning. So roughly by noon, it'll be everywhere. My time. And the video will be up on the PeerTube instance at theindiebasement.com. No, video.theindiebasement.com. Just find I'll post it on Mastodon when it's up and running, and you'll just follow the link from there. That's the best course of action right now. Because that's another thing I want to change. It's just, yeah, whatever. Anyways, how rude. I violated the sacred hockey time slot. Nope. There's no hockey here. You don't know. The reason why I don't know, this little bonus material here, the reason why I don't know is I have so many of them. That's why I also want to move away. Try to have everything underneath. I'm not going to bring up my hover account. I have over 15. I think I'm getting close to 20 domains. And most of them I don't even use anymore. They're just sitting there. And whoever is squatting on indiebasement.com, come on. I'm not going to spend $4,000 to buy it and then have it renew at $20 at the regular rate because it's a premium domain. But anyways, I want to say thank you for coming out, and I hope to see you on the next episode within 2 weeks. Again, this is every other week, right here, same bad channel, same bad time. And I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, I'll leave it in. But yeah, have a good night, and see you later, taters.